Some folks will throw dirt at your soul just to see if it sticks. But child, don't you know, mud only clings if you stop moving. Keep walking, keep shining, and don't you dare let another soul disturb your peace. There is a sacred place within you, a tender, shining chamber that holds your peace, your joy, your purpose, and your light. It is not for the public. It is not for the curious. It is not for those who come empty-handed, bringing nothing but chaos and confusion in their wake. That space is your inner court, your sanctuary, and you must learn to guard it as though your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. See, not every handshake is holy. Not every smile is sincere. Some people don't come to love you, they come to study you, to test your edges, to poke and prod until they find the soft spot that lets them inside your defenses. And if you don't know how to say no, how to close the gate with love and firmness, how to choose silence over noise and solitude over circus, then soon enough you'll find your sacred space cluttered with voices that don't speak life and faces that don't mirror love. You have to treat your spirit like a temple, not a train station. Everyone can't come and go as they please. The door to your peace should not swing wide open just because someone knocks with urgency. You've got to learn to pause, to discern, to recognize when a person carries calm and when they carry chaos. Some will speak in honeyed words but plant weeds in your garden. Some will laugh with you in the daylight and carry your secrets into the dark. It's not about being cold. It's not about building walls so high that nobody can climb them. It's about building gates with wisdom. It's about placing guards called discernment at the borders of your soul. It's about knowing that your time, your energy, your company, your kindness, these are not cheap. They are gifts, precious ones. And you are not required to keep giving just because someone keeps asking. There are people who will take and take and take, not out of malice, but out of emptiness. People who don't know how to pour, only how to pull. If you are not careful, they will drain you dry while calling you selfish for needing rest. They will mistake your boundaries for bitterness and your silence for weakness, but you must remain unmoved. You must remain rooted in the truth that you are not a source for every thirsty soul. You are not a sponge for other people's wounds. You are not responsible for healing what did not break in your own hands. Protecting your inner court means having the courage to disappoint people in order to honor yourself. It means choosing quiet over clamor, choosing peace over popularity, choosing depth over shallow approval. You don't need a crowd to be validated. You need clarity. You need alignment. You need to be able to sit in your own presence and feel full, feel whole, feel still. Your spirit is your home. Keep it clean. Keep it sacred. Keep it surrounded by those who know how to speak with reverence and love, not entitlement and demand. Because once you give a person access to your spirit, you give them access to your rhythm, your breath, your balance. And if they are careless with it, you'll find yourself off beat, off course, out of sync with your own soul. So learn to say no, not with guilt, but with grace. Learn to step away, not with resentment, but with reverence for your peace. Learn to love from a distance when closeness begins to cost you too much. Because protecting your inner court is not about fear, it's about wisdom. It's about knowing that your light is powerful, and anything that powerful must be guarded with intention and love. There will be moments in this life where someone's words will come like arrows, fast and fiery, pointed not always by truth, but by pain, by fear, by misunderstanding. There will be times when the look in their eyes is not love, but a reflection of their own battles, the kind of battles they haven't spoken aloud, but carry in clenched jaws and tired sighs. And in those moments, you will feel something stir inside of you, a fire, a resistance, an urge to match their energy, to throw back what was thrown at you. But that is the moment where you must decide not to react, but to rise, to respond not with venom, but with vision. See, a reaction is easy. It is the first language of the wounded. It rushes out before the heart can gather its peace. A reaction is what happens when we let someone else pull the strings of our emotions like we are puppets instead of people with purpose. But understanding, that is sacred. That is strength. That is the mark of someone who has done the inner work, someone who has walked through their own fire and come out tempered, not torched. To respond with understanding does not mean you accept disrespect. It does not mean you make yourself small in the presence of insult. No, it means you are rooted enough to ask yourself, what is this person really saying? What pain are they speaking through? What fear are they hiding behind their tone? When you understand that most people are projecting not truth but trauma, you no longer take it personal. You begin to see the child behind the tantrum, the wound behind the harshness, the insecurity behind the arrogance. You must train your spirit to pause before it speaks. You must learn to taste your words before you serve them, because words can be weapons or they can be medicine, and you get to choose which one you carry in your mouth. Don't let someone's chaos become the architect of your tone. Don't let their disrespect design your dialogue. The moment you mirror their anger, you surrender your mastery. But when you respond with calm, with clarity, with compassion, you remain the author of your story. It is a daily discipline, this act of responding with understanding. It requires you to check in with yourself constantly to ask, is this about me or is this about them? It requires you to hold space for the hurt behind the hostility, not to excuse it, but to see it for what it is. And when you see clearly, you no longer need to defend yourself. You simply state your truth and let that be enough. When you respond with understanding, you create space for growth. You teach others by example that emotional intelligence is not a weakness, but a quiet, commanding strength. You give people the gift of reflection, not retaliation. You become a mirror, not of their worst, but of what's possible when someone chooses presence over pride, stillness over storm, grace over grievance. And that is the power you carry when you decide to be the calm within the conflict, the voice of reason when the room is loud with pain, the steady hand that does not flinch at provocation. That is not submission, that is sovereignty. That is how you protect your peace while still holding on to your power. That is how you rise, not by stepping on others, but by lifting yourself out of the reach of their chaos through the quiet dignity of understanding over reaction. There is a hush between the feeling and the word, a sacred breath before the tongue moves, and in that breath lives all your power. That breath is not weakness, it is wisdom. The soul does not stutter when it is anchored in truth, and truth does not rush to prove itself. To speak before pausing is to pour water from a cloudy cup to let spill what is not yet settled. But when you train your soul to pause, you allow the murk to fall and the clarity to rise. We live in a world where people speak to be first, not to be right, to be loud, not to be light. They fire words like bullets, fast and without thought, aiming at shadows, piercing through what they cannot see clearly. But your soul is not called to echo that chaos. You were not born to bark replies or spit fire at every flicker of offense. You were born to walk with grace through the fog, to see beyond the surface, to listen until the silence reveals more than noise ever could. To train your soul to pause before it speaks is to honor the gravity of language. Words can cradle or cut. They can build a bridge or burn a home. Once they are released, they do not return the same. They echo, they echo, they echo. They are passed from lips to hearts, from one hurting spirit to another, and what you speak in one moment can shape the world of another. So you must pause, not to censor yourself, but to center yourself, to check your motive, your intention, your truth. That pause is where you ask yourself, is what I am about to say rooted in love, or is it rising from fear? Am I speaking to connect or to correct? To protect my peace or to disturb theirs? The soul does not speak to impress, it speaks to impact. And impact requires stillness. It requires the strength to hold your tongue until your heart has had time to breathe. It requires that you make room between your wound and your words, so that you do not bleed on those who did not cut you. Silence is not surrender. It is the soil where wisdom grows. It is the space where your highest self has time to speak to you, to guide you away from the edge. And when you pause, you allow yourself to hear that guidance. You give your spirit permission to choose peace instead of pettiness, understanding instead of urgency, truth instead of triumph. Train your soul to pause, not just for others, but for yourself. Give yourself the gift of not regretting what left your lips too soon. Give yourself the strength to be deliberate, not defensive. Let the pause be your teacher, your protector, your path to deeper awareness. For it is in the quiet before the sound that the soul finds its voice. And when your soul speaks, after the pause, it does not tremble, it does not falter. It speaks with the full weight of grace, and grace never stumbles over pride. Peace is not a passing breeze that comes when the sun is shining and the birds are singing. It is not a mood that waits on conditions to be right, or people to be kind, or circumstances to be gentle. No, peace is a discipline. It is a decision. It is a daily practice you carry like prayer beads in your pocket, a silent hymn you hum in the middle of chaos, a soft cloak you wrap around your shoulders when the world storms against your door. The mistake we often make is waiting for peace to arrive, as though it were an honored guest who might show up when everything is tidy and perfect and in place. But peace is not a visitor. It is a tenant that lives inside the person who has chosen to keep their heart unshaken by the winds outside. Peace is not found in the absence of noise, but in your refusal to let the noise make a home inside of you. To practice peace is to wake up each day and say, no matter what this day brings, I will not hand over the key to my calm. It means beginning each morning with intention, setting the tone before the world sets it for you. It means guarding your time, your thoughts, your energy like sacred land, knowing not everyone can walk there and not everything deserves a response. It means stepping back instead of lashing out, breathing deep instead of speaking quick, listening more than you defend, and learning that silence is not weakness, it is wisdom dressed in stillness. When you make peace your practice, you start to recognize how easily the world trades in emotional currency. People will try to buy your peace with drama, purchase your attention with provocation. But when you are rooted in your practice, you no longer sell yourself cheap. You understand that peace is not something to reach for. It's something you return to over and over in every conversation, in every challenge, in every breath. Some days, peace is quiet and effortless. Other days, it is a fight not to fall into the chaos calling your name. But like any practice, the more you return to it, the stronger it becomes. The more you water it with patience and protect it with presence, the more it grows into your way of being. It becomes the music your footsteps walk to, the scent your spirit leaves behind. Peace is not passive, it is powerful. It is the inner knowing that you are the master of your mind, the keeper of your soul's sanctuary. And when others come with storms, you are not swept away. You are still, you are clear, you are anchored. Not because life has been easy, but because you have made a promise to yourself that no matter what rises around you, what rises within you will be peace. There comes a moment when you must walk so firmly in the knowing of who you are that no shadow cast by someone else can dim your inner light. The world will always have something to say about your looks, your voice, your choices, your past, your path. But when you know your worth deeply, profoundly, unshakably, those insults come not as daggers, but as distant echoes, fading before they ever touch the skin of your spirit. Knowing your worth is not about arrogance. It is not loud or boastful. It is not the noise of needing validation, nor the hunger for applause. It is the still, steady knowing that you are a vessel of divine craftsmanship, molded with intention, blessed with a unique fire that no hand can replicate and no mouth can diminish. It is waking each day not in search of permission to be enough, but in the full realization that you already are. When insults come, and they will from broken mouths and tired hearts, you no longer bow to them. You do not shrink, you do not crumble, because you have done the holy work of digging deep and sitting with yourself. You have traced the map of your soul with gentleness. You have counted every scar and seen the story it tells. You have honored your journey with grace, and in doing so, you have built a foundation no storm can shake. Insults lose power when they meet someone who no longer bleeds from the same wounds. You've outgrown the version of you that believed every lie spoken in a cruel tone. You've left behind the you who tried to bend and twist to be palatable. You no longer explain your beauty or defend your strength. You know what you carry, and that is enough. The world may try to reduce you to labels, to throw words like stones, hoping they'll find a crack in your peace. But when your worth is rooted in something eternal, not trends, not praise, not approval, those stones hit a surface too solid to break. They clatter, they fall, and they echo back into the silence where they belong. And while others waste breath trying to define you, you use yours to speak life into your vision, your purpose, your becoming. You do not stop to argue with every voice that misunderstands you. You keep walking, grounded and whole, knowing that what they throw is beneath the level you live on. Because when you know your worth, truly and irrevocably, you no longer fear rejection. You understand that not everyone is meant to see you clearly, and that's not your burden to carry. Knowing your worth means you do not barter your soul for acceptance. You do not beg to be chosen. You do not settle for half love or partial truth. You sit at the table of your own fullness, and anyone who cannot honor your value is simply not meant to dine with you. You are not built for begging. You are not built for bending. You are built for rising, for standing, for becoming more of who you already are, worthy, whole, and untouchable by the winds of small minds and empty words. You were not placed on this earth to be a sponge for other people's chaos, to soak up every mood in the room, or to exhaust your light just to keep others warm in their darkness. You were born radiant, with energy like gold in your bones and sunlight in your soul. And that kind of power must be guarded with the reverence of royalty. You do not hand it out carelessly. You do not allow every presence to pull from it. You are the master of it, the keeper, the high priest or priestess of the temple that is your own spirit. Your energy is the fuel of your becoming. It's not just your mood or your aura, it's your intention, your vibration, your life force, and wherever it flows, it nourishes or depletes. Every conversation, every thought, every action is either a deposit or a withdrawal. And when you move through your days unaware of this sacred economy, you will find yourself drained, tired in your bones, bitter in your belly, angry without knowing why, because you spent your crown energy like spare change on people and places that did not know how to hold it with care. There are some who will gravitate to your light, not because they admire it, but because they need it to navigate their own shadows. And that's not always a crime, but it becomes one when they begin to expect it without giving, to demand it without gratitude, to take and take until there is nothing left for you. You cannot heal everyone, and you are not obligated to be accessible to anyone who confuses your kindness for currency. Guarding your energy is not selfish. It is spiritual intelligence. It is emotional sovereignty. It is the understanding that your peace is your inheritance, and you must protect it like you would any sacred gift passed down from divine hands. There will be moments when you will be tempted to respond, to engage, to correct, to prove, to explain, but every engagement is an invitation. And you must ask yourself, what are you being invited into? And at what cost to your crown? Because every time you lower your energy to meet someone in their drama, you are stepping off your throne to wrestle in mud that was never meant for you. And while you may win the argument, you will lose your elevation. You are not required to explain your no. You are not required to answer every call, respond to every message, entertain every criticism. You are not rude for protecting your time, your space, your mind. You are not unkind for stepping back from what drains you. You are simply aware of the price you pay when you pour from an unguarded well. The most powerful people are not those who speak the loudest or move the fastest. They are the ones who know when to engage and when to retreat, when to give and when to conserve, when to rise and when to be still. Their power lies in their control, not of others, but of themselves. Their discipline, their direction, their deliberate choosing of what and whom they allow into their sacred field. To master your energy is to walk through the world with intention, to wake up each morning and ask, not just what needs to be done, but what deserves your presence, what earns your essence. It is to bless what feeds you and release what bleeds you. To recognize that peace is not just a desire, it is a daily decision, a discipline, a divine posture. You wear your energy like a crown, not to boast, but to remind yourself and others that your soul is not common, that your spirit is not to be handled carelessly, that the gold within you was not forged in ease, but in fire. So you protect it with grace, you guard it with boundaries, you nourish it with stillness. And in doing so, you teach the world how to treat you, not by force, not by fight, but by the quiet command of someone who knows exactly what they carry and will never again let it be spent without purpose.